where I'm out here getting my walking done this morning. And before we get started, I just want to take a moment to thank all of my supporters and everyone for supporting my channel. I'm so excited in the trajectory where I'm going to take my channel for the year of 2025. So with that being said, let's get on down to today's very important lecture. And I've been wanting to lecture on this topic for a while now. And the focus of this lecture is going to be protect your credential. Protect your credential at all costs. If you hold any kind of professional license or certification, always, I don't care if you take a break and work outside of your profession for a while, or I tell anybody, always protect your credential, your professional license. I don't care if you are a RN, or you are a licensed nurse, or you're a certified cosmetology, or a licensed doctor or attorney. I hold my professional license as a licensed clinical addiction specialist. I'm credentialed in 3 states. I have people in my family who are nurses. Whatever your professional credential is in, it is critical you protect your credential. You protect your professional license, because that's your livelihood, people. Anybody who holds any kind of professional credential have gone through a process to be granted that professional license by a credentialing board. And by me, with my credentialing, although I'm retired as a licensed clinical addiction specialist, I retired September of 2023, but I still maintain my professional license. I'm licensed in the state of Georgia. I'm licensed in the state of North Carolina. I'm licensed in the state of Virginia as a licensed clinical addiction expert. And I tell anybody, I work hard to get mine. And throughout my professional career, I've seen many professional people lose their license. In the field of addiction, we work as a team. So I'm working with addictionologists, I'm working with doctors, I'm working with nurses, or you're working with addiction counselors. So all of these different professionals with these various different professional licenses working in treatment programs. I've seen doctors lose their license. I've seen nurses lose their license. I've seen licensed clinical addiction specialists lose their license throughout my 21 plus year journey working in the field prior to me retiring. I've seen many people lose, and you got to understand, people, when a person loses their professional license, what that means is the credentialing board has stripped you of your license. That means you cannot work in that profession ever again. So all of that schooling and education you went to school to work in that profession. So it ain't about just losing a job. No, the board, the credentialing board is revoking your license. Rather you, that nurse or that licensed clinical addiction specialist, or that doctor, or if you're an attorney, whatever your license is, you hold your license in, you have lost, the board has stepped in because you violated some type of code of ethics that governs that profession. And if you hold that professional license, you know what those codes are, because that's part of, they test you on that. That's just one aspect of it. You have gone through some steps based off your behavior that's not in line with the board code of ethics to lose that license. Somebody has reported your behind to the board for violation of ethical conduct in reference to what you are supposed to do or not do. You have been reported. I've seen it throughout my career. And this is real talk. Yeah, you could probably go get another job somewhere, but you ain't gonna be able to go get a job in that profession. Because let me tell you something. When a professional loses their license, that board is going to report your name in a database. It can be pulled up. Especially in North Carolina, I can go on the North Carolina addiction website right now because they make it public knowledge. When licensed clinicians have done stupid stuff to lose their license and the board revokes their license, I can go in and see anybody, it's public knowledge, on what they did to lose their license. They put it in the public domain, and it should be, because you got a lot of folks who may have lost their license and think they can go at this other treatment facility or this other hospital or this other law firm and get another job in their profession, but that company is going to check you, pull your name up on the board, and it's going to show up. So, and that's why I tell people, protect your credential. It's many things, even though I'm retired, I have still made a lot of money under my license, doing a lot of consultant work under my license. And even if you do consultant work, they got to verify I got the credential. They ain't gonna pay me all this money to do this consultant work as an expert addiction person, and I can't, they can't verify my credential. So even in retirement, I'm protecting my stuff. I'm going to know those code of ethics. I had a discussion with a friend of mine. We came up in the ranks together. She was about ready to retire. She got top-notch credentials like me, and we came up through the ranks together. I can remember when I was first starting on my credential, at the licensure level, you got to have a master's. I got a couple of master's degrees. I had to do postmaster's work. I had to do internship at addiction treatment programs. I had to pass three different board examinations, go in front of the board, hard work to get that license. Years of education. And the board ain't playing. And they ain't playing. So we were talking about and reminiscing on all of the hard work we did. This is when I got my first addiction credential in Georgia, and young in the field. But we was doing what we needed to do, and that process was not easy, people. And because that board wanted to make sure that you pass all of these requirements, and at the end you are issued that license by the board. And then you got to maintain those CEUs. You got to renew that license every 2 years. They ain't playing. And many people didn't make it. And towards the final test we had to take, after we took written exams and master's degrees and all this credential and internship, 10,000 hours worth of internship, that's insane. On top of passing a tier testing system, 3 tests, and the last test at the end, you have to pass an oral exam. These people weren't playing. And I could never figure this out at the very end, because by the time you get to the end, you have gone through years of training to try to get this credential from the board. You miss one question, you fail, they don't give you your license. That last test, you miss one, by that point, you have passed many exams. You have gone through blood, sweat, and tears, graduate school, 10,000 hours of internship, and the last test with many questions on that damn test. You miss one question. In Georgia, that's how they did it. You fail and you don't get the credential. You got to wait 6 months and do it all over again. I remember way back then, I got to the very end. I went in front of that oral panel among experts in the field, people, experts. And they are asking you question after question, and you got to dive deep. You got to know the DSM-5. You got to know the ASAM criteria like the back of your hand. And if you ain't in the field with what I just said, ASAM criteria, DSM-5, level of care, you have no clue to what I'm talking about. And I had to go deep with those answers. And I was going deep with those answers. I messed around, and it was one question they weren't happy with the answer. And I failed. And I had to go back to study again, go back in front of that panel 6 months later, and the rest is history. I don't know what it was, but mind you, it took me years to get in front of that panel to go after that credential. That was the first credential I earned. So all that I went through, it ain't nowhere in the world that I'm going to position myself to jeopardize my credential, which is also a business commodity. Like I said, me and her was talking on the phone last night, and we were talking about that journey we went through to get those credentials. And she about ready to retire too, but she's similar to me. We still doing things to make money, people, behind that credential, because in the field of addiction, there's a shortage of credentialed people at me and her level. For whatever reason, there's a shortage. So programs are in dire need, because by law and in state guidelines, they gotta have the licensed addiction counselors. They gotta have so many licensed addiction counselors providing those services, the addictionologists, the nurses who specialize in addiction. They have a specialized credential. By law and funding, they have to have a certain amount of people providing these services in this profession. If not, they'll lose funding and they'll get in a lot of trouble. So they're in dire need. So at me and her level with all these credentials, we can pretty much write our own ticket. We can go in as a consultant for a few days and write our own ticket. But the key thing is you got to have the credential, and they're gonna check with the board. They're gonna know if you ever been sanctioned. You know, because a lot of times a person can get in trouble with their credential, and they can it can be revoked temporarily, or it can be suspended altogether. So they're checking my stuff. And I'm thinking, check all you want. Because I'm going to tell you one thing throughout my career. I've always been the type of person, I'm going to know those code of ethics. I'm going to read those code of ethics, and I'm going to walk the walk people. For real, for real. Because there's been many times in my career I've seen people, I just watch them. I'll be watching these people, and I can see when they're going down treacherous waters in terms of unethical conduct. For real, for real. I'm just looking at them. And it don't surprise at all levels. Doctors, nurses, addiction counselors, I've seen them all lose their credential behind unethical behavior, and it's real talk. For real, for real. And I've always been big on, because the code of ethics governs the behavior of the professional. Those code of ethics from the board governs the behavior of the professional, and it's real talk. So when you lose your credential, you're losing your livelihood. When you lose your credential, you can never work in that profession again. Yeah, you can probably go get another job that doesn't require that credential, but you ain't gonna be making that level of money. You ain't gonna be making that level of money. And this is real talk. And so we were talking about, you know, how in the field now with these newer people coming into the field, they don't seem to understand the importance of functioning at a level where you're protecting your credential. You know, I've even seen people, professional people with professional license on social media being disgruntled about their job, or being disgruntled about situations going on the job in full uniform with their name tag. And I be thinking in my mind, you know, people really need to be careful. If you hold a professional license and you on social media in uniform talking negative about your job, disgruntled about your job. I've even heard a person on social media, a registered nurse, talking about the job because of his behavior, whatever, he was reported to the board, airing out his issues on social media. And I be thinking, you know, that type of behavior, especially if you hold a professional license, can potentially jeopardize your credential, because you airing out important, sensitive information in relation to situations going on your job that ties into the essential job functions, and you're a professional person holding a license. I'm just looking at this, and I got a niece who's a registered nurse, and she's on top of her game. She, you know, me and her have conversation all the time talking about the importance of protecting your professional license. My niece worked hard to get that RN a license. I remember when she was a CNA, she went to school, became a CNA, kept going to school, became an LPN, kept going to school until she became an RN, and she busted her butt. And she knows her stuff, people. Even if she want to take a break from being an RN, she say she'll always maintain her license. There's so many directions you can go as a professional when you hold a professional license. You know, I've done lectures in substance abuse and gotten paid. You know, there's many things I can do in relation to my professional license. and get paid. I can do consultant work and get paid behind that powerful credential. But I'm going to make sure I'm going to protect my credential by all means necessary, and that's real talk. And and I'm sharing this information because I'm telling you, people are losing their professional license left and right. I've seen it with my own eyes. It's going on as we speak. And the main reason they're losing their professional license because their behavior is not congruent with the code of ethics that governs the board that governs that license. I have the Addiction Board of North Carolina I have to answer to, because I have the Addiction Board of Georgia that I have to answer to, because I have my Georgia license. So I have to answer to that board. I got to make sure I adhere to those code of ethics. I have to renew that Georgia license. I got the North Carolina Addiction Board I have to answer to. So I have to adhere to those code of ethics. I have to renew that license. I got the Virginia Addiction Board I have to answer to. So I have to renew that license. I have to adhere to those code of ethics if I want to remain in the profession, whether I'm retired or not. And that's real talk. So again, share this information. Folks might need it to hear this information. You have got to protect your professional license at all costs, because your professional license is also considered a business commodity. It really is. I can do lectures and make money. I can do training and make money. I can do clinical substance abuse evaluations and make money as an expert within my field, people. And you better believe they're checking. Oh, and I even forgot about my national license. Yeah, I forgot about that one. I'm a credential as an addiction expert at the national level. So that means I can go anywhere in this country and function and perform the essential functions of the job of an addiction expert anywhere in this world, because I have the national addiction credential, which is carte blanche. So that means I have to adhere to national standards. This thing is real. State standards. I have to abide by the board standards. I have to adhere to code of ethics, HIPAA, CFR 42 Part 2, all of that governs my behavior. And this is real talk. But with that, at that level, I can also, if I want to, like I said, enter into contractual agreements with different organizations based off my credential, and still make money in retirement. And the money I make, I turn around and reinvest that money. This is real talk. So share this information. Somebody might need to hear this. Simple fidelity, and I'm going to leave you in the care of your own conscience. Have a great day.